Let's give Wyatt Jackson a hand. The instrument that you heard Wyatt play is called the djembe, and also the kalimba. Wyatt Jackson is the executive director of the We Move in Color Collaborative Incorporated. They just recently played at the Kennedy Center. Thank you for being here. Each of you for being here today. I'm so grateful that you are here. Today, to accompany me in this lecture, we have our pianist, Jamehl Taylor, also who I call JJ, the drummer, Bryant, the guitarist, lead guitarist, Maurice, bass, Anthony Nembhard. I believe I pronounced that correctly. Nembhard. Awesome. And on the sax, we have Philip Young. I hope today that you will be blessed by these great musicians. In Salima Ikram's work, Death and Burial in Ancient Egypt, Ikram argues the Egyptians were obsessed by life and its continuation. The tombs, mortuary temples, and mummies that they produced were a celebration of life. In other words, even before African peoples were negatively impacted by European colonialism, kidnappings and enslavement, and the systemic genocide of the transatlantic slave trade, African peoples proclaimed life in the face of death. According to Kofi Asare Obuku's book, West African Traditional Religion, he writes that the dead are believed to be everywhere. At any time, they continue to live, but in another kind of existence. Life, to the Egyptians and those of the African continent, never ceases to exist. The reality of death was not ignored. Rather, West African peoples and Egyptians confronted death through their faith and veneration of their ancestors. And, as you have heard, played by Wyatt, through the power of the drum. The drum, the music that spoke of life, that spoke of their humanity and faith in God. Before the disorientation of the Middle Passage and transatlantic slave trade, African peoples, as seen in the lives of Egyptians and West African peoples, through their religious ideals and spirituality, proclaimed life in the face of death. Whether it was through counter images of spells and symbols on coffins and walls, or through libation and food offerings to their ancestors, or through the beating of the drum or the musical harmonies of tribes, African peoples refused to allow death to win. And in today's lecture and musical journey, I hope that you will learn and feel the music of Black Americans who sang of liberation, played music of freedom and life amid a death-dealing system. From the 1600s to now, you will hear the story of Black American music. Out of the Middle Passage, out of chattel slavery, you will hear the sound of Black resistance. Today, may you be reminded that Black history is American history. May you be reminded that Black music is American music. Sit back and allow the sounds of Blackness to permeate your soul. Allow the story and journey of Black people to give you hope. And in the words of that scholar, theologian, activist, preacher, and Episcopal priest Pauli Murray, hope is a song in a weary throat. Before you hear these sounds, I begin with an excerpt from an award-winning author called Evelyn Coleman's in her beautiful poetic book entitled To Be a Drum. To Be a Drum. It's called Earth's heartbeat. Long before time, before hours and minutes and seconds, on the continent of Africa, the rhythm of the earth beat for the first people. The earth filled the air with spirit. The spirit rose on the wind and flew into their bodies. And our own heartbeats for the first time. We were alive. This is how our drum was born. With the drum, we spoke to the animals and to the people. The earth's heartbeat, out of the rhythm of all there is, we listened and sounded the rhythms back to her to hear. The beat moved through our bodies and pushed out from our fingers. The earth spirit moved through us and pushed more, not only out of our fingers, but out of our entire bodies. And we became the drums, living drums, beating for the whole world to hear and see. So when we worked in the fields, we made our feet drums. When we sang songs under starlit skies, we made our mouths drums. Can you hear the sound of the drum? When we talked to each other, we made our speech drums. When we stitched our quilts, we made our hands drums. When we fought in wars, we made our courage drums. Can you hear the sound of the drum? When we invented things, we made our minds drums. When we fought for our freedom, we made our communities drums. When we created music, paintings, sculptures, dances, and dramas, we made our art drums. We wrote down our wisdom. When we made our stories drums. When we recorded our memories, we made our history drums. When we became farmers, scientists, teachers, leaders, entrepreneurs, and tradespeople, we made our dreams drums. Then men from another continent came. Men who would not listen to the rhythm of the earth. They shackled them and flung them into the belly of ships, bringing them enslaved across the oceans and seas. They tore them apart from one another, and they did not speak to them in their own languages. They were no longer free. They thought that they were no more. Then they took the drum away. But cruelty did not stop the earth from beating. It spoke to them still. And its rhythm pushed not only out of their hands, but out of their entire bodies. In the middle passage, white captors knew the power of music and black music. They knew the power of the sound of the drum. So they banned the drum. But through the middle passage, their bodies became the drum. Although they were now chattel, kings and princes and former governors and tribal leaders and spiritual healers, children, women, and men, but they used their bodies as a drum. Although the drum was taken, in Danielle and McCrae's article on Shrieking the Truth, Merry and Proclamatory Wailing, McCrae makes the argument that wailing and tears and the mode of proclamation became a drum. She argues that the wailing and tears of prophetic speech that has meaning in the face of opposition. Like Mary, the mother of Christ, when she wailed at the loss of Christ, black people turned their pain into music through wailing on the ships. When Africans landed on the shores of America, they were enslaved in a particular form of slavery called chattel slavery. They were considered 3/5 of a human, and they were property. They were beaten, raped, and dehumanized and forced to work on plantations. From 1500 to 1850, about 12 million Africans were transported across the Atlantic, and about 400 to 450,000 were brought to North America. Yet they resisted. They kept singing. In the fields, when they were under the blazing sun, they danced of freedom through the ring shout, which is a counterclockwise type of dance. And not only did they continue to dance, they also sang work songs in the fields. In the 1700s, there was a particular work song entitled Ho, Emma Ho. This was about a strong black woman who could work in the fields more than 2 times other black men. She fought and resisted even through the work song. Ho, Emma, ho, you turn around, dig a hole in the ground. Ho, Emma, ho, ho, Emma, ho, you turn around, dig a hole in the ground. Ho, Emma, ho, Emma, help me to pull these weeds. Ho, Emma, ho, you turn around, dig a hole in the ground. Ho, Emma, ho. They kept singing even in the face of discrimination and chattel slavery. In the 1800s, there was the birth of Negro spirituals. They were giving hymns and giving the gospel from white slave owners and giving European music, and they made it their own. White enslavers sought to completely subjugate the enslaved Africans. They attempted to do this physically, mentally, and spiritually. And in Luke Powery, in his book, Them Dry Bones, he states that this spiritual-like preaching, like typical sermons, focus on the survival of a people. They sang songs like Walk Together Children, Don't Get Weary. There's a great camp meeting in the air. Don't you want to go to heaven to see my Lord? Wade in the water, steal away, O Canaan, sweet Canaan land. The lyrics may have had the words Canaan land, Jordan, promised land, heaven, river, and camp meeting, which may have been read as mere spiritual places to white slave owners. But these words were implied freedom toward the North. They had a double meaning. Singers of this movement, such as the Freedom Singers who would later come, their music can be traced back to the early Negro spirituals. Listen to Wade in the Water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. If I can hear that a little bit on the keys and the sax, let it permeate your soul. they sing songs such as Wade in the Water. But you could hear them singing with the early Negro spirituals. Pray on just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer, 'cause everything will be all right. 1800s, you had the birth of Negro spirituals, followed by syncopated brass bands. And following the Civil War, through employment as musicians began playing European music in military bands, they developed a new style of music, yet resisting segregation and resisting discrimination, called ragtime. One particular artist was called Scott Joplin, and one of his pieces, called The Entertainer, can be heard today. And after ragtime in the 1880s, as we began to progress black music as American music, there was an era where spirituals became recorded, known as arranged spirituals. And one particular man who made spirituals known in a recording fashion is called Paul Robeson. You can find the first recordings entitled "Didn't My Lord Deliver Daniel?" "Every Time I Feel the Spirit." And also another group that was known for arranged spirituals in the 1870s is called the Fisk Jubilee Singers. Listen to them later. And also in the 1800s to 1890s, in Louisiana and Mississippi, there was another genre of music called the rural blues. Another type of music that reflected what people were going through, what black people were going through, the harsh conditions, and this was also a form of resistance. A particular artist named Mississippi John Hurt and Papa Charlie Jackson were known for their blues. Maurice, if I could just hear a little sound of the blues on the guitar. After the rural blues of the 1890s, we come into the early 1900s, where we had the blues that progressed. We also had the swing bands of the 1920s that eventually led to jazz. Most of you have heard about when hundreds moved from the South, black people moved from the South to the North, known as the Great Migration in the 1920s. There was a movement called the Harlem Renaissance. You could find some of the greatest sounds of jazz there. This was a period of black art in Harlem. You had people such as Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong, and singers such as Billie Holiday. Can we hear a little jazz from the Harlem Renaissance? Awesome. After this, we have the movement of jazz that makes its way into gospel. Jazz and blues. Former blues singers, you would find that most of blues singers became gospel singers. And I have a quote in here today in my lecture, not knowing that Dr. Sharice Barron would be here. Dr. Sharice Barron, scholar of African American religion and ethnomusicology, states that gospel music is Christian music that implores a popular and folk music form to praise God, reinforce Christian texts and principles, or to facilitate an encounter with God. Former blues singer by the name of Thomas Dorsey, most of you all know the song that he wrote entitled Precious Lord. He was a former blues singer and he is known as the father of gospel. But I love this song by Thomas Dorsey entitled The Lord Will Make a Way Somehow. Oh yeah. You can clap. Like a ship that's tossed and driven, oh, battered by an angry sea. When the storms of life are raging and the fury falls on me, I'll wonder what I have done that makes this race so hard to run. And I say to my soul, take courage, the Lord will make a way somehow. Break it down. The Lord will make a way somehow. Ooh, when beneath the cross I bow, He will take away your sorrow. Let Him have your burdens now. When the load of life gets so heavy and the weight is short upon my brow, there's a sweet relief in knowing the Lord will make a way somehow. Gospel music. This was a period where music was used to reinforce Christian texts and principles, but also to resist racism, to resist systemic pain. And not only did you have gospel, but you also had rock and roll. A lot of people have heard of Elvis Presley, but they don't know that before there was Elvis Presley, there was a lady by the name of Rosetta Tharpe. And she would play the guitar in a rock and roll fashion, and she influenced Elvis Presley. Not only did you have the rock and roll, but one of my favorite periods, even though I wasn't born, of music rather, is rhythm and blues and soul music during the 1950s and 60s. And one particular artist that some of you all remember, because you probably was alive at that time, was called Sam Cooke. And his music was not just a feel-good, but in his music it spoke of an existential hope that one day we all would live in peace together, black and white, through a song entitled A Change Gonna Come. I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. But it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Yes it will. And I go to the movie, then I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. But it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother, and I say, brother, help me please. Oh, he winds up knocking me down. Oh, knocking me down, back down on my knees. And oh, there's been times when I thought I couldn't last for long, yeah. But now I think I'm able to carry on. A long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes, it will. Sam Cooke. and traditional gospel, and particularly traditional gospel, made its way during the civil rights era. We know that historians say the civil rights era is in the 50s and 60s, but we know it can be traced back to chattel slavery and post-Reconstruction. Rather, for the sake of this time, I will deal with the era of the 50s and 60s. Those spirituals and gospel songs made its way as people marched to integrate restaurants and schools in Montgomery, Alabama, and in Mississippi. And one particular song that you may remember from the civil rights movement was called "Old Freedom." Old Freedom. We began to move forward. We began to see gospel evolve. And we began to see this movement of choirs, and we began to see that it started to be commercialized. And I love this particular song that a lot of people remember, Walter Hawkins singers, "Oh Happy Day." You can clap your hands. forth, we began to see choirs and gospel, and we also started to have soul music by James Brown and disco in the 70s. Term one song called Do the Hustle. You begin to see the funk music and funkadelic, and even in the 70s and 80s, you begin to see the emergence of rap and hip hop. Contrary to what people may think it is today, in its origin, there were rappers known as Grandmaster Flash, others in the Bronx, New York. And it wasn't just mere noise, but the rap was a poetic form of speech that talked about police brutality, living conditions, racism. They resisted the housing crisis and the despair of inequalities in the educational system. Out of the crucible of social despair in the 1970s and 80s, you began to see hip-hop form in the ghettos of Harlem and the Bronx. The origin of hip-hop was a social justice movement. Amid a crack epidemic, police brutality, unemployment, housing discrimination, a poor educational system, economic despair, unfair arrests and sentencing, black imprisonment, young black persons utilized rap and the words on beats to bring an awareness to these social conundrums. There were names such as Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, Ice Cube. You also had LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, and the list can go on. This is American music. Go-go music also emerged by Chuck Brown, and house music by Marshall Jefferson, and the electro of the 80s, known as really by one artist such as Prince. Not only did you see this resistance emerge, but even in the 90s, rhythm and blues and neo soul, and even current today with present gospel music that speaks of hope, and present R&B and hip hop. Even recently at the NFL, we had Kendrick Lamar, who speaks of songs, "It Will Be All Right," which is social protest in the face of current social injustice. Beyonce, even in her music, when she wrote the song Lemonade, which means that black people have been turning lemons into lemonade for years in this context. Black music is American music. And I'm so glad you came here today. I'm so grateful for Reverend Potts and Reverend Alana and Ed Jones and the music department and Mem Church and finance team, everyone for supporting this event. As we wrap this time up, contrary to popular belief and mainstream pundits, we look to history, to a people who fought. We've been here before. We look to them in order to move forward in the path toward liberation. We've been here before. I know you may be wondering, how will we move forward in today's time? Look to the music. Look to the drum. We look to the contemporary prophets who are also yet proclaiming life and challenging oppression in all forms. We look to those who have a hermeneutic of justice, love, hospitality, and unwavering faith. We look to institutions and churches that are not drunken by the status quo, nor empire. We look to the drum. We look to music. And we are reminded of the gospel, of the words of Christ that says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives." In a time where rhetoric and policies unravel decades of progress on racial equality, equity, inclusion, civil rights, and justice, may you continue to sing a song of hope. In a time of utter erasure of marginalized communities, may you continue to sing a song of hope, and may we do the work. Although we may get weary and the road may be hard, may we continue to sing with weary throats. And I leave you with this song by James Weldon Johnson, which was originally a poem. James Weldon Johnson was a principal of Jacksonville, Florida's segregated school in the year 1900. He wrote this poem, which later would become the Negro National Hymn. His brother was a talented musician, and he took the poem and added music notes to it. So as you leave this place, encouraged, I hope, may you continue to lift your voice and sing of justice. Every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land, true to our God, true to